breaking story about Carson Beck's injury. And it is I believe it is a ligament that we talk about more when we talk about baseball, Pete. What's going on?
Yeah. So sources tell On3 that Georgia quarterback Carson Beck injured the UCL on his right elbow during SEC Saturday.
That's the Tommy John surgery ligament.
Yes. Yeah. No clear timetable yet. He's trying to get some second opinions. Sources tell On3. So trying to learn more about that. Nothing definitive, but that is what he injured.
Okay, so I didn't go to medical school, but Tommy John surgery, when you hear that, is like I don't know if it's gotten different now because it's more advanced technology, but is that a surgery?
So,
well, that's why they call it Tommy John surgery.
No, but I'm saying but also too, I don't know the mechanics of throwing a baseball.
It's different. It's different. It's interesting. I actually have a little bit. I didn't go to medical school either. Got some really interesting background on this a couple years ago, when I was doing a pre-draft story on Brock Purdy, because he was working out with a QB trainer who at the time was connected to a facility where they trained baseball pitchers as well.
Yeah.
And so one of the sports science guys there was explaining to me the amount of torque on the arm for a football player versus a baseball player. It's very different for a baseball player. Right. So this is not oh God, is his career over injury for Carson Beck, but it is potentially what happens to him in the playoff injury.
Right.
Like he might not be able to play.
Right. So Georgia's going to play in the Sugar Bowl January 1st against the winner in Notre Dame, Indiana. So that gives him, I guess, 3 weeks or so to prepare, but it's really unclear what the timetable is at the moment.
Yeah. And so interestingly enough, we mentioned Austin Simmons a little bit earlier in the show. So Austin Simmons, a baseball pitcher,
right?
He had an elbow injury as a baseball player that they were worried was going to potentially require surgery. He got a second opinion, found out, okay, I can try to rehab this. He did, and it's what allowed him to play this season.
Yeah.
In football at Ole Miss.
Okay, but just like whenever you hear the word Tommy John, and I know back in the day, like when I was a kid, like Tommy John surgery meant like you were out for like 18 months.
Right. Well, it still means that if you're a baseball pitcher.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's still a little different for football. And the other thing too here is so the UCL elbow injury, is it tear or damage? I can't tell you if it's a tear or damage just yet. I think that's what the second opinion is all about.
Yeah, and that was the thing when we were watching the game, because you were trying to figure out what did he hurt.
Right.
Kirby Smart said hand in the halftime interview, and I was like, no, it wasn't his hand. Because it was the way his arm got trapped. Because it was Trey Moore that was tackling him
forward with your arm.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't the point of contact right around.
It looked like the stress was on the elbow because Trey Moore is holding his arm down and he's trying to push it forward. So the stress would be on the elbow or the shoulder. Now we know it's the elbow, and that's a tough one. So Gunner Stockton, we saw him play in the SEC championship game. Ari, maybe the guy. This may be like a Cardell Jones type situation.
I mean, I thought he played as well as he could have given
he played better than Beck played in the game.
Let's call it what it is. Also, too, for as good as Texas' defense was, Georgia moved the ball a hell of a lot better than they probably should have with how limited they were from a play calling standpoint. But you give him 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's my question. Yeah. I'm assuming because Gunner Stockton's been in the program. He's not he didn't just come in this year.
He's a guy. He was a recruit.
He was a big time recruit. I'm sure he knows the whole playbook, but I imagine when they had to throw him in with limited first team reps at practice,
right?
It was probably a limited menu, Pete, of what you
I would
could
imagine. Yeah. I mean, and obviously right now they got 2-3 weeks to get ready for this next game, try to figure out what's going on. And obviously they'll give Gunner Stockton more snaps if he's the starter.
Yeah. I will tell you, watching the teammates, especially the offensive linemen, the way they rallied around Gunner Stockton in that game. That's a well-liked dude. That's a good hang in the locker room.
Yeah, I don't know that my feelings based on this news changes about Georgia in terms of like their basement and ceiling.
I want to tell you about Game Time because if you would like to attend some of these on-campus playoff games, you can with Game Time. If you're looking on the screen right now, hit that GT Picks button and look at the Ohio State Tennessee tickets. So in the $300 range. Like for this, that's not terrible. Now, if you want to go to Indiana Notre Dame, you're gonna be forking over some bucks. It's like $800 to get in, and then if you want a good seat, it's up there. But if you want to go, you can, because Game Time has the tickets to all of these games. Go to Game Time, download the app, use the code STAPLES, and get $20 off your purchase. Terms apply. Hit the GT Picks button. It gives you the best prices relative to the market, so you know you're getting the best deal. So download the app, code STAPLES, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. If you want to go to a college football playoff game on campus, you can with Game Time, guaranteed.
Do you feel the same?
No, I don't think it changes much. I think, again, it's a small sample size, but against the best defense in the country, I think Texas has the best defense in the country. Gunner Stockton looked better than Carson Beck.
He won them the game.
Yeah.
So he won them the game.
Also, took maybe the most hellacious hit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That was clean.
Gunner Stockton.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. Like, Carson Beck has not been lighting it up this year. So, I think that there was an experience factor, somebody who's played, almost 2 full years of football for you want to have in the playoff as the SEC champion. But it's going to be certainly an interesting situation to monitor. For sure.
Totally.